Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mary. Good morning.
Good morning. We are going to do a little short version of our Mama's story. We're going to pick up where we left off. But first of all, there was a couple things we wanted to say.
Yeah, we wanted to tell you that we have ordered some more cookbooks, and so if you want one, go to PinkyMoss.com. PinkyMossCakes.com on the website, and you can pay on PayPal on that. And then if you want to, don't want to do that or can't get on the internet like that, well, you could just send a check to Linda Dalton, and at 149 Brooks Road in Jefferson, Texas, 75657. And we will get your order that way. But if you're making phone calls this morning or anytime, the phone is ringing constantly. And during this video, we may be getting some little interruptions for phone calls, but we won't stop and answer them. So either leave a message or call back, because we are just getting one call after the other this morning ordering cookbooks and our baked goods.
And we thank you for that. And we're our day-to-day primarily is going to be spent baking. So if we don't answer your call, please don't think that you're not important. You are. We just have our priorities, and that's what we're going to try to do that today and work on that today. So I think that, and thank you all again so much. This is just a very humbling experience. We're going to pick up Mom and Daddy, where we were talking about parties yesterday, and one of the parties, Mama wrote that Daddy gave her a little tiny kiss, and
on the cheek.
On the cheek. And remember, this was back in a long time ago, but it was really sweet when I read it. I could almost see my daddy reach over and kiss Mama. So I'm going to pick up here where Daddy gave Mama a silver dollar that night. I think they were at their aunt and uncle's, at my daddy's aunt and uncle in St. Augustine, and he gave Mama a silver dollar that was in 1921, which was the year he was born. And I thought that was really sweet. And she said she regret that she guessed she spent it. She didn't keep it. But they both had the same birthday.
Right. They was both born, the same day.
They were both born on July 19th. 4 years. Daddy was 4 years older than Mama. And we've already talked about the cars, but I want to say this about Daddy. My daddy did not drink. He might have drank a beer or two before they got married, but I remember one time in our childhood, he had some brothers that drank, and they were in our front yard, and
I remember
Daddy had a beer in his hand.
I remember that.
And my mama told him flat out, "You ever drink another beer, there won't be a marriage." And she meant it too.
Yeah, she did.
And
he knew she meant it.
He never drank another beer in his life. And I mean, a lot of people drink and hide it. My daddy didn't drink.
No.
He didn't.
Our family is whatever you see is what you get. We're not phonies.
No. And it is, you'd have to know our mama to know, but it was, Daddy knew she meant it. Okay, so I'm hoping that I'm not getting ahead of myself, but
when they got married, Aunt Elsie went with them to get married.
Yes, they did. But Mama told Daddy, she said, "I won't get married unless you ask my daddy for my hand in marriage," which was very customary back then. So he was gone somewhere. Paulie was gone somewhere. So she got up real early the next morning, and she got a suitcase and she packed it. And then she cooked dinner for Daddy, and she had to go borrow a cup of sugar from one of their neighbors.
Oh.
And I think she said it was down the road from Fee Gartman. Some of our followers are related to the Gartman, so they'll know what we're talking about. It's down on Cottenham Bridge Road, and but Daddy was too nervous to eat, so. Paul hadn't gotten home yet. Paul Lee hadn't gotten home yet, and Mama was expecting him any minute. But Daddy was nervous and he was anxious, and Mama was too. So finally Paul got there, but Uncle Hebron was with him, and that's Paul Lee's brother. So that probably even made him that much more nervous because there was an audience. But they were in a hurry to get off fishing, so Daddy cornered Paul Lee, and he asked for Mama. And what Mama wrote is, "He asked for me." And I don't know why, but sometimes this is emotional. You'd think after 50, 70 years it wouldn't be, but Paul told Mama that it would, or Daddy, that it would be all right if that's what he wanted, and he asked him to be good to me.
He gave her $25. Daddy didn't to go get some.
Yes,
clothes.
Paulie gave Mama $25 to buy her a new dress. Daddy gave her some money too,
Yeah.
but Paulie gave her $25, and you have to understand that was a lot of money for Paulie to pull out of his pocket and give to Mama, and that's what he gave her. And I really apologize. I know that some of this is not going to be in chronological time order, but there's a few things on here that I want to say. So this is backing up. This was in May. They got married in May. But in March, Daddy drove up to Mom and them's house, and she said they only shook hands, which I thought that was cute. She said
They was getting married and they shook hands.
they shook hands. Can you imagine walking up and shaking hands with your then to be fiance? But there was a lot of people there, and she said that he told her that he was going to Houston and get a job, buy the trailer. We told y'all yesterday that he got a travel trailer, and that he'd be back after her. So he did come back in about 2 weeks, but he still didn't have things quite ready. So he drove up to Ma and Paulie's house on the 23rd of May, and he sat in his car and they talked. They sat in his car and talked. They talked and talked is what she wrote. And Jesse, Mama's little baby brother, our uncle, who is only 5 years than our oldest brother, so he was almost like a brother to us, like we grew up together. They lived with us part of the time. He was not quite 4 years old, but he did not like Mama sitting in that car with Daddy. And Mama was like Mom was like a second mama to Jesse.
Yeah,
I mean, she was so much older than Jesse.
I was close to Jesse too.
And he got a long stick, and he kept coming out and hitting his car with the stick. And Daddy had the marriage license, so he was going back to Sharina, and he was going to spend the night at Sharina with his Uncle Fred Beasley, my Pinky Mall's brother, and that he'd be back after me the next morning. Of course, there were no phones or electricity back then, so, it was just, that was just what they did. So, and this is backing up a little bit here, and I'm sorry I keep picking up this piece of paper, but I don't want to leave something out that I feel like is important. When Daddy went in the Army, it was on June the 6th, 1942, and shortly after then, Mama started getting letters from him. And I don't know if y'all know this or not, but back in the day, when the busloads would leave for the Army, the young men, and I say young men because most of these were young men, they wrote their addresses, their APO address down on pieces of paper, and they throw them out the window. You remember Mama talking about that?
I don't remember it, Linda. I'm sorry.
And there would be a bunch of girls, a bunch of young girls, and they would throw these addresses out the window, and girls would scramble to get these addresses, and they would write the servicemen. And there was a lot of girls that wrote Daddy, a lot of girls, but Mama was the one that Daddy liked, and I didn't see the piece of paper, or I don't have it in front of me, but Daddy told Mama, and he told her this many times, that she was the most intelligent young lady that he had ever seen.
He was the most knowledgeable person he had ever met.
And Mama, keep in mind, Mama never graduated from high school because she had to work, but she was a very, very smart woman.
Right, and she said the only thing she really regretted in life was that she never graduated, never did get her diploma. And then, so whenever she died and we had her funeral, that was part of the funeral service. Brother Willoughby presented a diploma for Mother, saying that because she had graduated for much higher power than a school diploma.
You're going to make me cry, Mary.
Anyway, it was a beautiful service, but Mother was very intelligent.
So, thank you. Mary's going to always step in when you see these eyes getting a little red and water coming out of them. She's my strong one. So, there would be times that she didn't hear from Daddy. And, it was a war going on, and their letters were censored, and there would be times that letters couldn't get out. So she would be very worried about him. She was so lonesome, and then let's see here, I lost my train of thought. So then he wrote her that he would be coming home. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about censored. He told her that he would be coming home by the time the wind started to blow. So Mama knew in March that he would be home.
That's
So
how he got the word to her.
That's how they knew about the time that he would be coming home. And I'm totally skipping around in some of these things I'm saying that I hadn't actually planned to say today. But they left out and came in through San Francisco. You knew that, right?
Yeah, I knew that.
And the Golden Gate Bridge has always been a really, and I'm a Texan, but the Golden Gate Bridge has always held a special meaning for me. I remember the first time I went over it, I was working in San Francisco, and I was going over to an area that I had to cross the bridge, and I wanted that moment to be very special, so I planned to go over that bridge at sunrise, and I did.
I went out there. When I went out there, I didn't, because I know how emotional Linda gets about it, and I didn't go over the San Francisco Bridge when I went out there. But
so, gosh, I hope I can do this. So the first thing he knew, of course, he knew, that he was getting close to home, but that was the first thing he knew, that he was home, when he saw that bridge.
yeah, well, anyway, I was afraid this is going to be too much for Linda, but because she's so emotional about her dad. But Mother and Daddy, we had a good life. He had some hard times in the service. Matter of fact, Daddy, he actually was a cook. He was a cook in the Army, but a lot of the things was really traumatic to him that he had to see and conquer and everything. So it made it, just the noise and all made it really bad for Dad. He lost his hearing, matter of fact. My dad lost his hearing in the service.
I want to tell something funny now, so y'all know that I'm not just a sad person. I'm not. I want to tell about Uncle Jesse. So, okay, here it is. I think I found it. So, after he went to the service, I mentioned this. Mama was real lonesome, and one day she came in from the field. They worked in the field, and Jesse, which was her little brother, he was about 2 years old, and he came running through the hall and yelled, "Hazel, Hazel, Cecil loves you." And you got a letter from him, and he said he loved you. And she said, "Surely Mom hasn't opened my mail." And of course she hadn't. But
it must have been a postcard.
It was strictly his no. He just made this up. He said he just made it up as his word. So this was the first letter, but I received many more over the next 2 years. She listened to the war news on the radio and cried and prayed many nights. And she had a cigar box full of letters that Daddy wrote her. And of course, they got burned up in the house. Right. But we thank y'all for listening, and thank you for bearing with us as, we tell this and I skip around, and we will start. We actually will probably start on after when we start was Mother's first child, Charles. Yes, we'll pick up there.
And pick up there on the next one.
Or when we didn't tell about her dress. We may mention that on our next one. But thank you all again for watching. Please share us with your friends, and we really did have a good childhood. I can't help it if
we did. We really did. And Linda, she's okay. Y'all don't worry about her. She's fine.
I'm fixing to get to work, so I ain't gonna have time to be thinking about anything said. So we love y'all.
And there'll also be another video, not live today, but we have a video of making that peanut butter pie.
Yes.
We'll post the recipe and us cooking the peanut butter pie. And something I didn't tell you whenever I did that video is that you have to you need to put it in the freezer. After you make it, put it in the freezer, because it's just easier to cut, and it doesn't take but a few minutes for it to thaw out when you want a piece.
And it may be later on this afternoon, because we got to get our aprons on and get busy cooking. So thank you again.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.